Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining us here in the sanctuary or online. It is the week before Passover, so this is Shabbat Hagadol, which means it's the longest Shabbat service of the year. I hope you're prepared. I have approximately 2.5 hours of elemental and essential teaching to share with you tonight. No? Oh, not all of you are excited. No, actually, just a regular drash tonight. For those of you who are familiar with the Shabbat Hagadol custom, in earlier times when rabbis were not necessarily service leaders, but were primarily teachers or judges, the rabbi would join the congregation on Saturday morning on the bima and give a big teaching basically 2 times a year. One would be on Shabbat Tshuva, which is the Shabbat between Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, and otherwise it would be on Shabbat Hagadol, the Shabbat immediately preceding Passover, to make sure that everyone understood all of the various customs and regulations and challenges of that holiday in terms of removing all your chametz and how to set up your home to be Pesadika or Passover pure. But I'll have some things to say in a little while. But for the time being, you do not have to worry. We are not going to go till midnight. But I just want to also mention that Rabbi Kupitz is not with us tonight here at Temple Beth Israel. If you were with us last week, you'll know that he has returned from Israel, has lots of wonderful stories and experiences to share with us. He shared a little bit last week. But we are doing a special Shabbat dinner gathering in Chino Hills this evening, and he's going to be with that part of our community. We're looking forward to doing more of these things around the communities few times a year on Friday night, give people a chance to get to know each other better and get to know Rabbi and perhaps myself a little bit better. But if your neighborhood is not on the list yet, it likely will be at some time soon. We're starting with the outlying areas first and looking forward to engaging people there. So we're going to start with Shalom Aleichem, which you will find on page 24, and invite you to join in. Give me a chance to turn the page here. Keep going, Randy. I didn't tell you to stop. Here we go. Ya-da-da-da-da, ya-da-da-da-da-da, ya-da-da-da-da-da, ya-da-da-da, ya-da-da-da. Yai dai dai da dai dai, yai dai dai da dai dai, dai dai dai. Shalom lechem malachei hasharet, malchei 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 elyon, mimelech malchei amlachim hakadosh baruch. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malchei, Malchei, Malchei Elyon, Mimelech, Mimelech, Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch. Baruchuni, Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malchei, Malchei, Malchei Elyon, Mimelech, Mimelech, Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Join me the Yadais. Ya-da-da-da-da-da, 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 ya-da-da-da. Olam l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malchei, Malchei, Malchei Elyon, Bimelech, Bimelech, Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. One more time, hand clapping's good. Yai-dai, yai-dai, dai-dai, dai, yai-dai, dai-dai, dai, yai-dai, dai, yai-dai, dai, dai, yai-dai, dai, 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 yai-dai, dai, 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 dai. So we'll move forward in our service now to the lighting of our Shabbat candles. If you will please turn to page 2 and join me at the top of the page. On page 3, actually. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Make 3 circles, one for ourselves, one for our friends and family, and one for all the people in the world as we rise and join together in our Shabbat candle blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kineshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. You may be seated. Well, I know that every week when we look back on the previous 6 days, when we get to Shabbat, it seems like it's been a busy week, but I think for many of us, it has been a busy week, if not in our own lives, certainly in the world as we follow the events in the state of Israel, and especially here in our own country. There seems to be things happening all the time, and one of the nice things about getting together for Shabbat or experiencing Shabbat in your own homes is that we get to take a deep breath and clear all of that stuff away and try to be present as much as possible so that the peace of Shabbat, the menucha, the refreshing of our spirits can take place. So I'm going to invite us to just take a brief moment of quiet reflection, kind of review the week in as it has touched you, and just one of the meditative techniques I learned is to draw a circle around it and then just erase it. So I'm going to do that for each of the following days, and hopefully when I get to Friday evening, I will be even more present for receiving the Holy Shabbat energy. as did the Kabbalists in Safat, starting about 500 years or so ago. We welcome the Shabbat energy with Lecha Dodi on pages 20 and 21. We welcome Shabbat as if she were a bride or a queen, and we'll be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 B'nei Shabbat Lekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 B'nei Shabbat Lekabela Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echan Yishme'anu Adonai Echad, Ushmo Echad, L'Shem Tiferet, Ve'Litmilah, Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Ve'Kabbelah, Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Ve'Kabbelah, Likrat Shabbat, Lechuven Elcha, Im Mekor HaBracha, Merosh B'Kedem, Nischa, Sof Ma'aseh B'Maksheva, Tchila, Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Ve'Kabbelah, Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Ve'Kabbelah, Itoreri, Itoreri, Kiva Orei, Uri, 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 Shira Beri, Kvod Adonai, Alayich Nikla, Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Ve'Kabbelah, Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Ve'Kabbelah. We rise and face the doors. We welcome the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom, ateret v'ala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, och emunei am segula, boi Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Ve'Kabbelah, Lecha Dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Ve'Kabbelah. If you are able to remain standing, I invite you to do so as I welcome Leo Levitt and Shulman to the Bima to lead us in Chatzi Kaddish on page 26. It's a good key for you here. I'll put it up. So you don't have to bend over so much.
Okay. Hi. Yit Gad Yo Yit Kadash Shemei Rabba Ve'al Divrei Hirute Ve'amli Malhute Hayehon uvyomehon uvhayedeho be Yisrael. Bagala, Bagala, Uvizman Kariv, Veimeru, Amen. Yeheshame Rabbah Mevara, Le'alam Lume'alayah, Yebarach, Yebarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitjaman, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yithaleh, V'yithalal, Shemede Kudesha, V'rihu, Le'ayla min kol v'chata, V'shirata, Tushbehata V'nechemata, Da'amiran Velma, V'yimeru,
We remain standing for Baruch Hu, page 26. Hebrew. Baruch Hu, 3, 2, go.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach,
Just read it. Baruch. Baruch.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach, Le'olam Va'ed.
Praise Adonai.
Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever.
Yashkoach. Okay. We join together. Just lie, 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 ya, la, la, lie, 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 la, lie, ya, la, lie, 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 yai, la, la, lie, la, la, lie, la, lie, la, la, lie, la, lie, la, la, lie, yai, la, la, lie, la, la, lie, la, lie, la, la, lie, yai, lie, lie, lie. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Lai la lai, la 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 lai, lai la la lai, lai lai lai. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Ya la la lai, la la lai, lai 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 lai. Lie, 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 lie. You may be seated. You can go. Thank you, Leo. I know that Leo looks like he's, going to be coming to the chuppah, to the wedding canopy pretty soon. But actually, he's going to become bar mitzvah in about a month, and we're just giving him some chance to work on his bima chops. That was his first time up, so yesh koach to Leo, and come back on April 29th and see how well he's going to do that. Let's read together on page 31 at the top. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Last 3 lines on page 30. El Chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv, aravim. Page 32, together at the bottom. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Last 4 lines in the Hebrew. Al tasir mimenu leolamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Oivamo Israel. We turn to page 34 and 35, and if it is your custom to rise for Shema, I invite you to do so. And as we sing together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. You may be seated. We join together on page 36 for Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'divarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtabtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha lema'an tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. So unless you haven't looked at the calendar in a while, you are probably aware that next Wednesday night begins our holiday of Pesach, Chag HaMatzot, Zman Cherutenu, the holiday of the matzahs, the season of our freedom. And one of the eternal symbols of that is present in our Siddur all year round. The custom is that we recite it twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, to remind us of the momentous nature of the event. And that's the words of Micha Mocha, which you will find on page 40, and I'm going to invite us all to join together, if not in the singing or the clapping, at least in the finger snapping. So. Everybody just follow Maury. Mi chamocha, bailim Adonai, mi chamocha, bedar bakodesh, nora tehilot, osei feleh. Same thing again, join us. Mi chamocha, bailim Adonai, mi chamocha, bedar bakodesh, nora tehilot, osei feleh. Malchutcha ra'u v'anecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze'eli anu, ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'en. Mi chamocha, bailim Adonai, mi chamocha, nedar v'kodesh, nora tehilot, osei feleh. Nora tehilot, osei feleh. Nora tehilot, osei feleh. V'ne'emar, kifad Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo meyad chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai, Gal Israel. As we turn to page 42, we are reminded of the opportunity that we have every evening to invoke God's presence over us as a Sukkot Shlomecha, a tabernacle of peace. As we lie down, may we be absorbed into the refreshing arms of the Holy One, and may we be returned in the morning renewed, and even more so on Shabbat, where we devote a whole day to renewal of spirit and soul. Page 42, Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha, ushmor tzedkeinu uvoenu. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha, ushmor tzedkeinu uvoenu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. We express our gratitude for the gift of Shabbat with the words of Vishamru, page 44. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ברית עולם. In just a moment, we'll move into the core tefillah of our service, actually called tefillah, also known as the Amidah, the standing prayer, so I will invite you to stand in a moment. But as we work our way through the introductory paragraph of Adonai Svatai, and then Avot, and Givurot, and then Kedusha, just want to mention that we will have some moments for private reflection after we get through the Kedusha. They just follow on the pages. Kedusha would be on page 52. And we'll have some time for private reflection. And then Randy Polavoy, as he does most Friday nights, will share a musical selection appropriate to the season. So I'm going to just invite him to introduce that at this time.
Shabbat Shalom. I normally do a piece that's a little bit more meditative in quality after the silent prayer. But with the upcoming Passover holiday on Wednesday, and just the idea that it crystallizes so beautifully the idea of freedom from enslavement, and with the world situation being the way it is, it's a perfect time to do, even though it's a little early, Go Down Moses, and this will be a kind of jazz pop arrangement that I'm going to be playing. So a little different than normal. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. Randy, if you are able, I invite you to rise as we turn to page 46 for the words of Adonai Svatai, and then proceed through our Amidah. Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imaot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'nehem, L'ma'an Shemo, Ve'ahava, Melech Ozer, U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, B'chayei HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, Umorid Hagashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Bechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Kayem Emunato Lishenei Afar. Micha mocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, melech memid umchayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Page 52. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Please take a few moments for personal reflection. Yasher Koach, Randy. Thank you so much. So 2 things I'm going to talk about this evening, both of which inspired by and containing the words of both a colleague and a friend. This week's Torah portion is Tzav, and Tzav means command. And like most of the book of Leviticus, Parshat Tzav is devoted to the sacrificial rites and the intricate techniques and methods and all of the technology that God had set out for the Israelite people as they were in the desert preparing to welcome God's presence into their camp. It's interesting to just to note that one of the unique things that defined Israelite religion, even in those early days as we're just literally months out of Egypt, is this idea that God's presence in terms of God's spirit, God's energy, was meant to dwell within the camp, right? God was not an outside body, and the way that God was worshipped or connected with, even though it resembled many of the practices of the surrounding communities in terms of offering animal, grain, and other kinds of sacrifices, the purpose of that offering was much different. We weren't satiating the gods because gods needed to be satiating. We were using the sacrifices as a way that God would sense our presence. So I want to first share a Devar Torah by one of my cantorial colleagues, David Fair. Reading through Tzav is like peeking into a world-class chef's bustling kitchen. The Kohanim were like master chefs, following a biblical recipe. Just like a chef might wear a white knot button coat and a chef's hat, the Kohanim wore special garments with sacred adornments, a jeweled breastplate, a turban, a headband, and a robe. The Kohanim's ingredients were carefully chosen. The animals were raised from birth to be an offering or slaughtered in a prescribed way. And likewise, professional chefs don't just arbitrarily pick any fruit or vegetable they see at the market. They select the freshest fruits and vegetables they are able to buy. The Kohanim's recipe was complicated, the Kohanim being the priests. Leviticus chapter 6, verse 13 and 14 says, 1/10 of an ephah of flour as a regular meal offering, half of it in the morning and half of it in the evening, shall be prepared with oil on a griddle. You shall bring it well soaked, and offer it as a meal offering of baked slices. These burnt offering meals were made with tremendous care. Personally, I find it satisfying to prepare meals for loved ones. Every now and then I'll make a big dinner for my partner and me. I really enjoy being in the kitchen, chopping, mixing, and preparing that meal. I make an Ashkenazi Jewish dish called holishkes. It takes hours to prepare and is quite labor-intensive. But the act of mixing together the rice and rolling it in the cabbage leaves and stacking it in the pot feels sacred to me. The look on my partner's face as he takes that first bite is so satisfying. This is how I imagine the Kohanim felt as they were preparing the burnt offerings. Imagine how they must have felt as they brought those offerings down to the people. Did the Kohanim feel a sense of pride when the people ate the offering they had prepared? Did the people appreciate the time and effort that had gone into its preparation? The word for offering is a special in itself. It's either mincha, which can mean gift or tribute, or shalem, which means peace offering, deriving it from the same linguistic root as shalom, meaning wholeness. Preparing a meal for someone is not just a gift, it's a tribute to the person eating it. Offering sustenance is a gift of peace. The Kohanim ate the peace offering in the Ohel Moed, the tent of meeting outside of the camp that served as a tabernacle where people could go and pray and be with God. One might call that a safe space, or a space where one can feel seen. How can we create an Ohel Moed for the people we care about? The food we eat is a gift from God. We can be part of that holy gift. If you're able, prepare a meal for someone you care about. Perhaps you could even recite a blessing while preparing the food to make it more special, and especially as we approach Pesach, when many of us will be doing a lot of cooking for our families and friends. Here's a lovely blessing written by Leah Koenig and Anna Stevenson called The Cooking Bracha. Blessed are you, creator of the world, who brings forth fruit from the earth. Blessed are you who gives us knowledge of cooking and time to cook, and who has blessed us with the need for nourishment so that we can fully understand your gifts. May it be your will that the food I cook bring nourishment, fulfillment, and happiness to those who eat it, and bring honor to the land and all the people that made this meal possible. The words of Cantor David Fair. I also wanted to add words from my friend and colleague, Rabbi David Zaslow, someone who appeared on this bima a number of years ago and shared his scholarship and his wisdom. He had just recently completed at that time a book on Jewish-Christian dialogue and interaction, and his wife also was here to share a book that she wrote. And as I mentioned earlier in the service, looking back on this week, many of us were very focused on the events of Israel, the events in Israel. And if you're not familiar with all of the various issues involved, I'm certainly not going to be able to bring all of that forward today. But I do want to reflect on, with Rabbi Zaslav, the kind of attitude that many of us seek to bring to our connection with Israel, especially in times where we perceive Israel to be in great times of challenge. So this is what Rabbi Zazel wrote earlier today, actually. Dear Chevra, meaning dear community, the problem as I see it with criticism of Israel is not the criticism of Israel per se. The problem is lack of contextualization, inaccurate comparisons, and exaggerated or misused language. In any authentic democracy, the responsibility of informed citizens is to support, debate, or protest policies or actions by its government. What we've seen in Israel over the last weeks is an extraordinary example of a vital democracy in action. So when I criticize the Israeli governmental policies, and I have much to criticize it about, I am obliged to criticize with all the passion that is called for and place that criticism in its proper context within the Middle East, where there are no other democracies that ensure its citizens the right to assemble and protest. Personally, I'm deeply worried about the right-wing shift of this government. I'm deeply concerned about Netanyahu's proposal of, quote, reforms, unquote, and that it being a smokescreen that would likely lead to an erosion of the democracy I so care about. I am deeply troubled by the growing power of both the nationalists and the religious right, eroding more and more rights of liberal Jewish religious denominations. I'm angry at Netanyahu's betrayal of an agreement he once signed with the women of the wall, but my protestations need to be placed in their proper perspective. When I put my criticism, anger, and complaints about this or that Israeli policy in the context of the rest of the Middle East, I clearly see that Israel is exhibiting the struggles of any vital democracy. And we know that Israel is the only pluralistic democracy of its kind in the Middle East. So that is the context I am speaking of. Especially as a spiritual leader, I would never simply criticize Israel without honoring its democracy and its vital role, and the vital role Israel plays in inspiring democratic movements throughout the Middle East, and especially for the very currently undemocratic Palestinian governments. And I would never just blindly support Israel, right or wrong, without my obligation as a Zionist to criticize and protest policies I disagree with or am appalled by. Exaggerated language is the other issue I'm concerned about, especially for those of us who are Jewish leaders. The use of words like apartheid, authoritarian, colonial, fascist to describe Israel and its leaders are simply and dangerously wrong and mislead those of us we might otherwise want to educate about what is happening in Israel today. Because we see racism in Israel does not make the nation because we see racism in Israel does not make the nation racist. Israeli policies may anger and upset me, and many of them do in the current government, but I believe it is incumbent upon me not to make public statements without putting my criticisms in the proper context and watching my own tendency towards exaggerated language that are rooted in my personal frustration. Israel is a wonderful, inspiring startup nation and democracy, and it needs our criticism now more than ever, as well as our love and support. The two, love and criticism, can be written about and spoken about in the same statement. From Rabbi David Zaslav. Shabbat Shalom. We now turn our hearts to those who are in need of healing, and I invite you to turn to page 253 in your Sidurim for Misha Berach. We'll do a modified version of the Hebrew here, and after I read the names on our congregational list, I will invite anyone in the congregation who chooses to add a name, and if you're with us online, please, I encourage you to place names in the chat on whatever platform you happen to be connected to this evening. Page 253. Bishaberach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah Hu Yevarech et HaCholim Elna Rifana La Elna Rifana Lo. We ask for blessings of healing for Rebecca Gilman, Hannah Fields Austin, Sue Toback, Rosalind Lefkowitz, Helen Weinfeld, Pam Poliakoff, Kathy Blumenfeld, Caitlin Antrim, Jennifer Rudin, Brad Holland, Serena Postal, Bobby Kay, Robert Strober, Marilyn Lubarsky, Ellery Einstein, Patricia Kramer, Joan Morse, Nomi Kravitz, Craig Sachs, Myra White, Lori Snyder, Charity Rezadeh, Mike Klein, Barbara Fass, Joel Beasy, Burton Gershman, Lawson Spicer, Gloria Foster, Rita Warshaw, Ira Quatcher, Robert Gerard, Stephen Arts, Adele Harris, Brenda Fong Gerard, Ron Friedlander, Harvey Sherman, Jan Marcus, Fred Fable, Marla Fergoso, Candy Stevens, Martin Cole, El Shapiro, Jeff Nelson, Oran Resnick, James Stead, Gina Eli, Robert Waldman, Barry Gustafaro, Udit Gratsta Lang, Bonnie Stead, Cynthia Tolentino, Eva Laxon, Mark Gassner, Gloria Wagman, Alda Mendoza, Mitch Samuelson, Sharna Blitz, Eli Wakefield, Ron Arad, and if there's someone, if you'd like to add, please do so as I walk through the congregation. Refana Elna Refana Elna Refana Lo. I'd like to invite Jack Warshaw to share some announcements as we move towards the close of our service.
Shabbat Shalom. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to thank you for being here, both in the sanctuary and online, and an extra Shabbat Shalom to my friend Adele, who I have not seen in a few years but spoke to today. Thank you to Cantor Paul Bush for leading our service, and wonderful music from Dr. Randy Polavoy. And a much appreciation to Claudia Gonzalez, who handles our technology in the back. Tonight, our Oneg is hosted by the TBI Brotherhood. Wanted to thank to our greeters this evening, outside greeter Kylie Sykes, lobby greeters Phyllis Blackie, Vicki Hollander, Judy Rose, and our driveway greeter Jerry Fenning, and wonderful security guards that are assisting. After the service, we will gather in the social hall for Kiddush, Motzi, refreshments, and conversation. Please take this opportunity to get to know someone new, which will help us continue to build our warm, personal Jewish community. We have a busy and engaged community. Find what interests you in our weekly update emailed every Thursday, in the monthly Kehillah, at our website and Facebook page. I'll highlight a few events that are coming up. Reminder, every Saturday we have our Torah study via Zoom that's led by Mikey Ryan at 9:30. Website ID is in the Thursday email. And if you want to join in, you can contact her for the commentary and questions that are sent out every Thursday. To save the dates, Tuesday, May 16th, we'll have our golf outing that we haven't done in a while, but it's time to do that back at Sierra Lakes. Foursomes are welcome. Contact Jay Eisenberg, and his contact information is in the email. And then Saturday night, June 3rd, we're going to have another fabulous evening, blues and jazz, with J. Michael O'Neill Review, featuring Aretha Scruggs, less wine, cheese boards, and luscious desserts, and more information will follow on that. Again, Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack. As I've mentioned already a number of times, Passover begins this coming Wednesday night. I invite anyone who is available to join us here in the sanctuary on Thursday morning for our first day of Passover service at 10 a.m. It will be online. If you want to join us that way, we appreciate your presence here in the sanctuary, however. That evening, we have our second night Seder, which I believe is sold out and reservations are closed, but I may be susceptible to certain level of appeal. If you really want to come and just somehow missed the deadline, I will try and see what we can do. No guarantees, though. And then just want to remind everyone on Sunday, April 16th, which is 2 weeks from this coming Sunday, we have our annual Yom HaShoah commemoration where we will welcome Dr. Wendy Lower, a noted Holocaust scholar who happens to be a teacher at the Claremont Collegist, who will speak specifically on her very groundbreaking research on Babi Yar, the site of the great tragedy, Holocaust tragedy in the Ukraine, as well as speak on her expertise and how the Holocaust has had an impact on the families who had connections with the Shoah. So that should be a very moving moment, 4 p.m. on Sunday, April 16th. I invite us to now move to formally conclude our service with Aleinu L'Shabeach, and followed by Kaddish. Aleinu is on page 282, bottom of the page, and I invite those who are able to please rise. ולשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. We now take the opportunity to remember those who have passed from our midst in seasons past. Also want to mention the recent passing of one of our former members, Barbara Zola. That funeral will take place this coming Sunday morning at Mount Sinai. If you need further information, please see me or check your TBI emails. There was an email notice. This evening we are remembering the yurtzites of Sherman Gilman, Sylvia Carr, Lawrence Purvis Sr., Irma Singer, Roger Hartstone, Ronald Kane, Gerald Geffen, Morris Grossman, Louis Kerber, Jeanette Aberman, Barbara Deutsch, Mark Domahosky, Edith Gass, Adeline Addie Goodman, Abe Lasky, Theodore Rich, Ted Snitzer, Dale Boring, Bernard Glickstein, Rabbi Earl Kaplan, David Meyer Lieberman, Libby Lieberman, Samuel Rotman, Elise Santamoro, Louis Trackman, Mary Grobin, Russ Hamlin Sr., Larry Levinson, Jesse Litton, Betty Lou Nelson, Abraham Nemtsov, and William Straussman. If you have a name you would like to add, please do so as I come through the congregation. If you're in a time of mourning or observing a yurtzeit, I invite you to rise at this time. And if it is your custom to rise in love and support of those who mourn, I also invite you to do so as we recite the words of Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, b'gala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach la'lam u'lalmei al-maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da amiran be'alma ve'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all humankind, to which we say, Amen. If you want to remain standing, you can as we turn to page 321, bottom paragraph, and we'll conclude with Beyado. Try it again. Beyado of Kidruchi, Be'edi Shan ve'a'ira, Be'im Ruchi geviati, Adonai li velo ira, Be'im Ruchi geviati, Adonai li velo ira. My soul I give to you, my spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Hold me in your hand. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely in your hand. Beyado. Beyado of Kidruchi, Be'edi Shan ve'a'ira, Yurim Ruchi geviati, Adonai li velo ira, Be'im Ruchi geviati, Adonai li velo ira. Shabbat Shalom. One more thank you shout out to Jack, to Randy, to Claudia, and to Leo Levitin-Shulman for all your contributions, and especially our brotherhood. Thank you for the oneg. Thank you to Barry and Nate, our TBI team, for making it all work for everyone. Shabbat Shalom. See you next week.